doing today? Welcome to my photography chat and shopping live stream where we talk about photography, but also go online and look for some deals. I try to cherry pick a few deals out there for primarily like accessories for our photography that I think will be useful and is pretty good deal. Um, so I did spot a couple of things today, and there's a 30% deal on a bunch of different kinds of lenses. Most of them, I think, if not all, are manual focus, like from Seven Artisans and Surae. But if you don't mind manual focus, there's some really good lenses you can get that'll give you sort of that vintage type look to your images, I think, or cinematic type images. Uh, because we could buy actual vintage lenses, right? But that comes with a lot of caveats. They're usually pretty old and can have scratches and dust. The coatings are worn off, such as they were anyway. And you have to worry about fungus and mold. But what's nice is that these third-party manufacturers are creating lenses that have that sort of vintage design, look, and feel, um, but they're brand new and they're reasonably priced. And for example, I saw one today. It's 55 millimeter f1.4. I believe it's available. It's definitely available in micro four thirds and also the Fuji and Sony mounts for APS-C cameras. So the lens is relatively, small, but uh, it, they typically have simpler designs in the lens design, optical elements, meaning there's usually no spherical lenses in them, so you're not going to get like onion rings, but you can get still possibly soap bubble effects and nice, smooth, creamy backgrounds, and of course the very fast aperture if you want to go for that shallower depth of field. And on micro four thirds, that 50 millimeter equates to like 100 millimeters focal length equivalent. So it'll give you a nice, it's a really nice portrait lens, and you could also use it for landscapes and, even some close-up photography. If you put some extension tubes on it, the 50 millimeter focal length on micro four thirds is a good focal length for doing close-up, maybe even pseudo macro. I don't think you can get quite one-to-one with these lenses, but let me share that with you real quick. And I see we have here. So if you go, and I have links down below to this page here, my handpicked deals. The lens I was just talking about, oh, it's a 55, but there's a 30% at checkout. So if you click on this link here, you'll see all the lenses that are available at this 30% deal. So if we add this to cart, and then if I go to my cart, and let me just make sure I don't want to give away my address and everything, although it's not a big deal, but uh, you can see here that this lens is basically with tax and free shipping. This lens is $80.88 final cost. So we got a $32.70 discount. So I like that deal a lot. And let's take a closer look at the lens itself. Let's see if they have anything. I was looking to see if they had the lens structure or any other specs here. It's 272 grams, so it's about the same size and weight as like the 12 to 45 Pro, but it's certainly smaller than, say, the 25 or 45 f1.2 Pro. And again, this is a manual focus, so they didn't provide really anything about the lens structure and design. But yeah, lenses like this, they will not have its spherical elements in them, and not at this price point anyway. So, like I said, what that's going to mean is basically you're going to get a very smooth and creamy background if you wanted to go for that shallow depth of field. And of course, as you stop these lenses down, they get very, very sharp. The only thing that I've noticed with these like third-party lenses, like Seven Artisans, TT Artisans, etc., is you have to think about flaring or shooting in direct sunlight. So you can use that sort of creatively if you want, or use a lens hood or try not to shoot directly into the sun. Usually, if you just angle the camera a little bit differently, you can get rid of all of the potential flaring that might happen. So that's that. Um, let me rearrange my windows here. And of course, I invite you to ask any questions you might have because this is sort of a hybrid stream now where we look at deals that I think are pretty decent, but we also, I'd like you to drive the conversation a little as well. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything, I'm open to that. I always do my best. And of course, you can always support the work that I do here by using my affiliate links down below. Well, I'll earn a commission and of course buy me a coffee or become a member, etc. But anyhow, we have all of that, and let me show you a couple other things I wanted to get to. Tarion here has a really good deal, 41% off. I don't think this 10% coupon works in addition to the 41%, but let's see what happens when I add this to cart. So if I go to my cart, 10% redeemed. Let me delete this one and go to checkout. So let's see. Yeah, so there is an additional 10% off. So you're getting this backpack for $42.93. So let's take a closer look at what we're getting for $42. Uh, so what we have here is a canvas bag, with basically TPU or I like to just call it vinyl. I don't know why that's so taboo now to say vinyl, but it's basically a vinyl or pleather accents. And so we have a fit. So this is a relatively small backpack. It's not tiny, but it's on a smaller size. It's not like like a sling bag might be, but it's not as big as say like a 20-liter bag. My guess would be this is probably 18 or so liters if they bothered to give the dimensions. But I'm basing that on the fact that this holds a 14-inch laptop in the back here. So this does open in the front. There's also, let's see, a little strap here on the top or pull string type cover. So it protects the interior from rain. So this is just for any kind of loose items as they're showing here. But a lot of times I like to insert dividers and things in the top part and use that as additional storage for camera gear. Rarely do I need to bring like a shirt with me on a hike. Uh, but it's also useful for holding additional longer lenses. You may not necessarily be able to fit them all in the lower compartment, so you can put them in the top. Like, for example, my 75 to, I'm sorry, my 300 millimeter f4 would fit up there on top nicely. And they include a rain cover. I've never used that personally. But as you can see here, this space here might be just big enough for a 300 f4. Uh, and then a camera, a couple lenses, maybe a flash, and then a bunch of little pockets here in the front area that are closable so stuff doesn't just fall out. And then there's another sleeve inside here for an additional laptop, 14-inch laptop. And this gives you, I guess, some perspective of the how it's going to look on a person. But I just like to look at the dimensions. So it's 11.4, it's 7 inches deep, and it's 16 and a half inches tall. So, like I said, this is probably about an 18-liter backpack if you want to compare. because that's typically how they list these things, but they did not in this case. Let's go down and see if there's anything down here that tells us one way or the other. Not really. But I bought this bag here from Tarion. And this bag, uh, it's not on sale now, but I got this for $25 back in the day, and I'm sure many of you have as well. But this has been a great bag, and I use it, time to time, depending on what I'm taking with me. But it's very durable, very well made. So I would suspect that this backpack is of similar quality to that bag. Just looking at the construction and materials in the photo here, I have no issue recommending this bag, especially when you can get this for like $43, right? With tax and everything. So, and a backpack, any backpack you can get for under $50 is a good deal, assuming, of this quality. And right now, this bag typically does sell for quite a bit more. But this was a good deal, I thought, if you're in the market for an affordable backpack. And again, these are the kind of backpacks that you really, you know, you use these for 3 to 5 years, you wear them out, and then you get another one. These are not the kind of backpacks that you keep for 20 years, right? But I think if you use this on a regular basis, you should get 3 to 5 years out of it without any issue. So we have an adjustable front strap or chest strap. What I'm looking at here is the stitching here and the reinforced stitching for the straps themselves. So it looks like they've put a reinforced nylon strip here, in addition to right around the strap as well. They put some additional uh, what do they call it? Canvas material. So it looks like it's really well made, and the handle is also stitched into there. So it's a very strong point there in the bag, because that's where you pick the bag up most of the time, is either by the handle or by the strap. So you want to be very conscious of this in particular, that they have good strong double stitching, that what they're stitching into is very strong. So in this case, they are stitching directly into the canvas material. So that looks really good. Uh, so yeah, I like it. Now, the only thing you have to consider is that, well, actually, let's see, and there's straps on the bottom for a tripod, it looks like as well. They don't show a picture of the bottom, and this is the challenge with backpacks. I'm going to do a review on a backpack here uh, today or tomorrow. It's kind of a high-end backpack that features a lot of the things that, it checks a lot of boxes. Okay, so here's a photo with the tripod straps on the bottom. But they don't show an actual picture of the bottom of the bag. But it does look like the bottom is also canvas. That this vinyl here is just an accent, but the bottom is vinyl. Or I'm sorry, the bottom is a canvas material. And the reason I bring that up is mostly because you want to be conscious of putting it down on in a puddle or something, right? Where that canvas material could potentially soak up some of that moisture. Shouldn't be a big deal. It's probably somewhat water resistant, but this kind of bag, canvas bags in general, are not ideal for heavy sustained rain, right? That's why it comes with a rain cover. But I think for just an everyday, fair weather type photography, this is a great deal. And I'm going to point out a couple other bags here, and then I'll get to the chat section over here in a second. Uh, Now this bag here, I haven't really talked about, but I have talked about K&F brand in general, and their products. You really have to buy their mid-tier, top-tier type products. When you buy their entry-level budget products, there's always exceptions, right? But uh, they're budget products. Uh, to a point that I think you're making a little bit too many compromises just to get a price point. Now, this bag here is very well priced. It's only 10% off right now. So that brings it down to $54. I've seen it as low as $48, this bag, but I've never seen it below that. But this bag, the materials, the construction, the size, uh, the way everything, the strap is very well designed, and it has the standard mesh back, makes it more breathable. So it's going to be more comfortable. I find the mesh style a little bit more comfortable than, say, the foam core molded type backs that I've seen. And then there's an additional strap here for, strapping it to your luggage and things. But let's look at some of the other photos here. One of the key things I like about the K&F brand when it comes to their backpacks is they include a ton of dividers. And this is really a much bigger deal for Micro Four Thirds and APS-C type shooters where your lenses are smaller and you can fit a lot more stuff, right? So putting in, the number of dividers that they provide really helps a lot. That you can pack a lot of things in very efficiently into this backpack, and everything's protected, and they're sort of semi-adjustable. And this bag is very, very lightweight, 950 grams, so just under a kilo. There's also an extendable pocket here. It actually flips down so that you can fit a tripod in there, a taller tripod, without it sticking way up over your head, right? So it's going to be a little more balanced on the side here. But the material of this backpack, here's a view of all the dividers that they give and how much you can stuff into this. And then there's some nice pockets here inside. Um, different arrangements. There's a little close up there. See if there's anything else of note here. Okay, this is a pretty good representation. This is a small person. uh, so the backpack looks a little bigger than I think it actually is in real life. Because I did see one of these in real life. One of one of the members in our photography club has this bag, and they really like it. So I got a chance to see this in person, and I can tell you the materials and construction and everything are excellent on this bag. So yeah, this bag costs a little more than a Tarion bag we just looked at, but I think for what's going to be $54 with a 10% coupon, this is an excellent bag for the money. And again, this is the kind of bag you go 3 to 5 years with daily use or weekly use, and you should be fine. And in 3 to 5 years, you just get another one. But I think this will last a little longer than 3 to 5 years, based on the way I saw the construction of the straps and how they're attached to the back of the backpack. Now, the only trick to this bag that's a little bit different is it does open from the top or the front here. So you're gonna have to lay the bag down on the straps when you take your gear out, if you lay it down. Also, I didn't see any side pockets on this bag. So if you do want to take gear out, you're not going to be able to do it by just coming around and reaching out. You're going to have to take the backpack off, lay it on the ground, straps first, and open the top. And, I think that's just part of the compromise of these smaller design backpacks. When you front load the gear, typically you can, it's a little bit easier access to everything, but it's a minor difference between that and backpacks that open up from the back. When you open up from the back, usually the straps are attached to the flap, right? When you open it up. So why is that a big deal? Well, what happens is uh, usually Well, first of all, it puts all of the stress of the weight, all of the weight of the backpack onto the zippers of the backpack, right? Versus keeping the weight on the straps and the casing itself. And a small backpack like this, you're not gonna overstuff it. It's not, and it's not gonna be an issue, right? So, uh, but this is a front-loading backpack, so the straps and all of the weight and everything are gonna be on the back, on the straps, and the casing itself. But that comes with the caveat of, yeah, you're gonna have to lay the backpack down. You have to take the backpack off to access everything. But these are minor, uh, we'll call it workflow type issues uh, with this kind of backpack. Uh, great zippers here with the loop handles that are rubberized. There's a closer look at that little pocket on the side that folds down so you can insert a tripod at a little bit lower center of gravity. And like I said, the material, this is sort of a more of an anti-rip type nylon, right? This is not a canvas material. This is more like a nylon. So that makes it more tear resistant, the way they have this sort of cross stitch pattern. And also, it's going to be more weather resistant. So this backpack, I would have no issues taking this in a heavy rain because the zippers are covered. The zipper on the back here for the extra pocket is vertical rather than horizontal, so it's going to be more resistant to, water kind of seeping in. And that there's let me see if there's a side pocket. I didn't see. So there is a bit of a side pocket here for your water bottles or maybe another tripod or light stand or whatever. But yeah, this is a great backpack for $54. I think it's worth every penny here, and it's a great value. Even at the full list price of $60, this is a good backpack. I'm just going to talk about this one quickly because $70. This is normally a $140 backpack. What's kind of interesting about this is that it only opens from the sides. So you can open from the left side and the right side, and that's it. And then there's a top compartment, it looks like, but I can't, let me look at the pictures here. They don't really, I assume the top part here you can access through the top, but I'm not 100% sure about that. It might be stitched closed. But you have a left and right pocket. There's a little divider here in the center. So you have access, you can put three things on the right side, three things on the left side, and they won't touch each other. But this looks like also an excellent, well-made backpack. It's just kind of an odd design. So I don't know. This may appeal to you. I don't know. But I wanted to just put it out there because it is at a very good deal right now, and it's a very different design that may be exactly what you were looking for. Uh, the design in my case would give me a little pause because I prefer to open up the whole thing so you have access and see everything. But this looks like, based on the profile here, it's a very thin backpack because you're putting in everything sideways. So if you prefer a thinner profile like this, uh, you can, then this is the bag for you. And then looking at some of the other features a little closer, I can see that we have, looks like standard rubberized zippers, so it's going to be very weather resistant. And so, rain's not going to seep in through the zippers. And let's see, what else do they got? I don't see, yeah, there's a picture of the side access. But I feel like this is a little bit of a compromise of form over function, right? So you're getting, if you want that thin form function or form factor like this, you're giving up a little bit of utility in access to your gear. So, but it is an interesting design, so I wanted to put that out there. Uh, Okay, this messenger bag here from Ape Case, half price. Now, I've seen these in the camera store. These are excellent quality bags, very, very high quality. This bag, I would say this is probably like a 5 to 10 year bag in terms of quality of materials that they're using. Because typically these higher quality bags, they have a little bit thicker canvas material and more, you know, much nicer stitching, or the quality of stitching is much nicer. So this is an interesting bag. Uh, it's much bigger. It looks bigger than it is, right? In terms of how much gear you can hold. You could probably put in a regular DSLR in something like this, but that and another lens. But for Micro Four Thirds, this is perfect. You can put in your camera, two, three lenses, maybe a flash, and have plenty of room. There's a couple of extra side pockets that they're not showing here. Let me see if it's in the pictures down here. Uh, yeah, they're not really portraying this bag very well. But it is a nice bag for $25. If you like the design, I don't care for the design myself, but in terms of the aesthetics and how it looks, but it may be exactly what you're looking for. Uh, and like I said, it's going to be very, very well made. Very well made. Look at how nice the stitching and the materials are. All right. And then now we're getting into stuff that I talked about last week, these various lenses. These are all really, really good lenses for the money. Um, this toy camera, this leather case, the gear head, $175 is a killer deal for this gear head. It's this one I've been using for the last 10 years. It's awesome. These memory cards, this is the best deal for V60 memory cards. And of course, this filter is great. I used it this weekend for the drifting event of the car pictures that I took. This is a great messenger bag, 50% off, or sling bag, I guess is a better way to describe this. Um, this bag I would say is worth $30 to $40, but with the discount making it down to $20, this is a really, really nice bag. So if you want this sort of camo type style, and it's all vinyl, so it's going to be weather resistant and it's going to hold a lot of stuff. This is definitely DSLR in one lens, maybe a flash, or multiple lenses and camera body with your Micro Four Thirds. But I really like the design of this. The swivel type strap here makes it much more comfortable to use. It's going to lay flatter on your body, so it's going to just be more secure feeling. There's additional strapping on the sides, rubberized zippers, and it looks like it has a strap on the bottom for your tripod as well. But yeah, no, it does not. So scratch that. Uh, but yeah, this is, I think, for $20, this is an excellent deal. And there's also a $4 coupon here. Wow, so that would make this bag $16. I think for $16, you cannot beat this. This is an excellent bag. If it were not for the camo style, I'd probably get one. I don't know, I still might for $16. But I have so many bags now. I just don't need another one. The one other thing I'll note here is I really like the lighter color of the interior. It just makes it easier to find things in your bag. Because a lot of bags, they have black interiors, right? And it's hard to find things or see things as easily as something that has a lighter color inside. So some very nice touches here, very well designed, and an excellent price at $16. So I'm going to add this to my cart. Uh, Things I'm going to think about later getting today for myself. So those are the key things that I wanted to share with you today, and hopefully find some things and you use my affiliate links. I'll earn a couple bucks. But let me find my chat window. It's around here somewhere, and we'll catch up and see how everybody's doing. So I see John is here. Good to see you, John. And Paul, good to see you. Jeff Painter. Wow, 75 degrees. Man, that's awesome. I think it's going to be closer to 80 here, but I love warm weather. I hate the cold. It's 70 degrees here in my office, and I'm still like wearing this. I'm just cold all the time. And Erna, good to see you again as well. Uh, and Intrigue, good to see you. Clint Johnson, good morning. Ooh, still waiting through last winter. Wow. So you're out in the Rockies, man. You must have the most beautiful landscapes there. And Ernest says, speaking of lenses, which ones have manual focus where you can apply, set it to infinity? On automatic lens, it can be hard to manually set it to infinity because it always keeps turning. Well, they all have hard stops, but there's really never true, for the most part, you always have to kind of go all the way to the hard stop and then back it off a little to get infinity. So I assume you only need to do that for like doing astro type photography where you want the stars to be pin sharp, in which case you want to use like your focus peaking and or magnification view to make sure you're at true infinity focus. But most lenses are designed to go a little bit past infinity for whatever reason. I I haven't really run across a lens and that you just dial it all the way to the hard stop and it's right at infinity. It seems like they're always a little bit past. And I think that's partially has to do with the fact that the focus point of the lens can change with temperature, right? So as it gets colder or as it gets warmer, the lens elements, the glass, the metal, everything about the lens, the infinity focus point or focus in general, that focus point can shift a little bit uh, with temperature. So I think that's why they do that. I'm just guessing. That's why they do that. Because I know in astrophotography, if I'm shooting overnight, I'm doing deep sky type astrophotography. I have to, every hour, every couple hours, if the temperature is changing, because it can, if you start at like 9 p.m. and finish at 6 a.m., temperature can drop significantly. And I have to readjust the focus to infinity throughout the night. Usually I do it like twice, if at all, to be honest. But I do it at least one time if I'm doing 2, 3 hours. If I'm doing it, 6 to 8 hours, then I would have to do it 3 or 4 times if the temperature is dropping overnight, which it typically does. And in which case, having a little bit of wiggle room at the infinity range rather than a hard stop would compensate for that. Oh, hey, Sam John, good to see you. And so it doesn't have stoppage point like some oh, you mean on the yeah, on the autofocus lenses, yeah, they're all focused by wire, most of them these days, right? So you can go all the way past infinity. I'll give you a little trick. It doesn't work on all lenses, but a lot of lenses. But if you want the autofocus to focus to infinity, just push the lens release button and release it. And a lot of times that will snap the lens to infinity focus if it's an autofocus lens. It works most of the time. And again, you'll have to double check, but that's what I've done in the past is I'll just push the lens release button. I'm not turning the lens or trying to dismount it. I'm just pushing the button for the lens release and letting it go. And then that should set the lens to uh, infinity focus. And you want to make sure you have in the menu system, and I'm talking about Micro Four Thirds and OM system cameras or Olympus. Make sure you have reset lens turned off in the menu system. You'll see that somewhere. I think it's in the autofocus section. I can't remember, but there's a line item called reset lens, and you can turn that on or off. Make sure that's turned off. And I'm talking about the OM1 once again, looking for 1725 manual focus infinity lenses. So yeah, all of those lenses most likely are going to be focused past infinity, but that's by design. Again, I believe, I'm guessing, for adjustments in temperature based on my experience of doing overnight type photography. And oh, Robert's here. Good. Hey, Robert, how are you? And Sam John said there was a great deal yesterday on eBay. Someone sold an OM3 with 500 shutter activations with the 75 1.8 for 1,800 euros. By the time I clicked it, buy was already gone. Oh, yeah, that's a deal. That was a deal. Um, because the 75 1.8, I guess, is about 500 euros, give or take, even used, right? Maybe 300 euros at your very best. Uh, so that means you're getting the OM3 for like 1,500 euros or less. And Simjohn says the Tarion bag is fantastic. I bought it after your video as a big daily carry one camera though, so I bought the Bellro 9-liter sling. Should arrive to. Oh, okay, cool. 9 liters pretty big though. I would have think a 6-liter sling would be. I mean, I don't know what you're going to carry, but uh, because you figure I think the Tarion is a 10-liter messenger bag, so you're only going down to 9. It's not that much smaller. I think a 6-liter would be probably about right, at least for me, for the way I would put bags together. Because gosh, I have so many bags now. But yeah, the Tarion bag is really, really nice. I have it right here, actually. So this one, this was on sale. This was on sale on and off for about a month. Not like every day for that month, but on and off. So it has the straps on the bottom for, tripod. Canvas material is really good. I mean, I have like the other one, the $120 bag. What brand is that? I forget the brand. It's the green one. On the more expensive one, the one that people are more familiar with that are this style, the straps are a little bit thicker, but these are fine, you know? These are perfectly fine, and stitching and everything is great on this. And it's basically an imitation of the other one that I have, has everything in here. Now, just a little tip, a lot of bags have like a little business card holder. Most of us are just enthusiasts, right? So we don't carry business cards. But I just stuff my microfiber cloths in the business card pouch. Keeps them clean and easily accessible. Because usually these uh, business card pouches are in an easy to access space, right? So that's where I put it. But for a canvas bag, it has really good rigidity too, and it's lightweight. So yeah, even at $50, this is a good deal. I think it's half the price of the. Let me just get it so you can see it. It's half the price of this one. This is a think tank messenger bag. Now this has grommets here so that you can hook things. That's really the only difference. Uh, and like I said, the strap is like has rib stitching in it, so it just has a little more texture. Uh, but other than that, I don't really see any difference in the overall quality and design and features of these two bags. This one has a little buckle down here to strap this side pocket, make it a little smaller or more secure if you need it to be. There's no side pocket over here, but I like how they have the ribbing going all the way down on the side here down to here. So yeah, it's mildly, I wouldn't say mildly, it is a better bag than the Tarion, certainly. But it's 4 times the price that I paid for the Tarion. And even when the Tarion's not on sale, it's double the price. And they're roughly the same size. This is actually a little bit smaller, just a hair. But yeah, for double the price, you can get this. I don't know if it's worth double the price compared to this one. But that's how things go when you start to get into the premium type products. It's like the prices go up exponentially just for a little more here, a little more there, right? And these little things can add up quite a bit with respect to the long-term durability. This think tank bag, I guarantee this is probably a 10 to 20 year bag, easily. I don't think I'll have any problems. Whereas I would put this bag probably at a 10-year limit. So, I mean, it could go longer, but it just, you can just kind of feel it when you have it here live in person. You can kind of feel the difference between the two. This feels more rugged and it's a little thicker material. The canvas material is just slightly thicker, uh, and just feels more rugged. Okay. Uh, and Clint had some feedback for you, Erna, about the 17. Yeah, I don't use the focus clutch, so I didn't think of that, but you're right. It does have hard stops. And Simjohn says the Voigtlander got some great manual focus lenses for MFT2, but they are huge and 0.95. There also come some Chinese ones that are supposedly decent. Yeah. Like I said, all of, there are some really good, like 7 Artisans, TT Artisan lenses out there, but they're not going to be at the $100 price point. If you want more of a clinical performance where it's sharp corner to corner, sharper wide open, uh, these kind of things, and they actually do start to use the spherical elements in some cases, the price goes up. You're going to be paying $200 to $300, if not $500, for these higher end 7 Artisans, TT Artisan lenses. But it seems like for the most part, they make a lot of lenses in the $100 to $200 range or less that I think are excellent options to buying an actual vintage lens because not only they're going to be new and have less issues and problems, right, with that you would get with say a used lens, but also they're going to be native mounts, so you don't have to use an adapter. So it's going to make the overall profile generally smaller on your camera. So the handling will be a little better. Because these vintage lenses, you have to think about the heliocoil and the oils in there. They can get onto the aperture blades, and for adapting to micro four thirds or mirrorless cameras, it's not really an issue so much. But if you want to use those lenses, say on a DSLR, for example, and I'm thinking specifically of I have an older 50 millimeter f1.8 for my Nikon F mount, and the aperture blades are oily. And what happens is they don't open and close fast enough before the exposure is done because the oil slows it down. And what ended up happening was I was getting the images overexposed or underexposed, whatever the case might be. If I was stopped down, the images would get overexposed. If I was shooting wide open, that wasn't a problem, shooting wide open, because then the blades don't have to open and close. But anywhere in between, yeah, I was having problems with overexposure. And Marco's here. Good to see you. And ATR Bear, good morning. And Gigi says, I don't like backpacks with tripods on the bottom. It hangs against the back. Put your bag down and the bag fall. Yeah. So that's definitely a very, very valid point where, if you like to, if you take, most of us are just day trippers or half day trippers, right? So we're going to get to our location or our hike within 30 minutes to an hour. We're going to take our backpack off and set it down and just start shooting. And we don't like to lay our backpacks down on the ground, except when we're trying to open or close or get gear out. But otherwise, standing it straight up uh, just makes more sense, right? Because it's not going to get as dirty and all of that stuff. But yeah, and then having the tripod mount on the bottom, even if you don't have the tripod there, let's say don't use the tripod part of the problem with bags that have tripod mounts on the bottom is they don't stand up straight all the time because the straps create a little bit uneven balance, and there's usually uh, the bottom is not quite as rigid. So you set the bag down and it just falls over anyway, even without a tripod mounted. So I also prefer bags that don't have the straps on the bottom. When we're talking about backpacks, uh, if you have the option to do that, that's fine. Like I said, I'm reviewing a higher end bag that really is so versatile. Uh, and they're just little things. They're here, there, here, there, and it adds up. And then all of a sudden, you got a $300 bag, right? But they can make all the difference for some people where they want to get as close to perfect as possible for their use case and their preferences. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit for it when they put a lot of design elements in there that people are looking for. So it's actually I have it right here. Let me see if I can switch uh camera views because I'm in the middle of reviewing it, but I'll give you a little sneak peek since you guys are here. Let's see if I can switch cameras. So it's this one here. Um Also has like waist straps that you can attach. But this has all of the things we talked about. Like if we look at the bottom, let me turn on another light. It's hard to see. So you can see this has actually feet on the bottom so that it stays straight up, no problem. But there's also loops here and it comes with straps. If you do want to attach a tripod to the bottom, you can. Um, and then this opens from the rear, so you can lay it straight down. It's kind of turning into a live stream, right? Uh, but yeah, this thing stands straight up. See? Look at that. No, and I have some stuff in here. This is really, really good. This is the VSGO 25-liter sniper. Really nice premium backpack. I don't talk about these backpacks in my streams usually, because it is kind of a high-end backpack. But I'm gonna dedicate a video to this bag. It has this kind of fancy magnetic lock, and then this strappable thing here. And you can open it with one hand, but to close it, it's a lot easier if you just do it with two hands, like this, and then it locks in. Then we have pockets on both sides with tripod straps that are adjustable, rubberized zippers, lockable, well, semi-lockable. You can lock the zippers together like this. Good handle, comfortable straps. I mean, it has everything. Uh, Little touches like I said, the rubberized zippers. Also, what's interesting, it has a little grommet down here, so that if it's raining hard, if water does get in here, because you'll have your tripod or water bottle in here, it'll drain out down here. So there's that. And the way the strap is attached to the backpack, I mean, there's just so many things about this bag. Has a great handle here. Now, most people think of this handle for like attaching to your luggage, right? So when you're traveling, you put your luggage handles through here. I don't travel, so this handle is great. It's really, really well stitched and designed so that you can pick up the bag like this, as I've done several times now, but this makes it so much easier to take it in and out of the trunk of my car. Because a lot of times you have to kind of pick it up like this and then pick it up like that. Whereas, if you're taking it out of the trunk of your car, because a lot of cars, the trunk has a lip, right? You can just pick it up like that and take the bag right out. So this is a really, really nice backpack. It retails for like $259. So I'll do a full review on this because they did send this to me to review. I wanted to review a high-end backpack, and I never thought that I would be a backpack person. But really, I really like this backpack because I bought another one from. I bought one from. I have three backpacks that I've bought. This one from K&F. This is an excellent backpack, also, right? Similar design. This is a 20 liter. The VS Go is a 25 liter. But just the pocket on one side, opening on this side, you know, a little loose container compartment that I put stuff, I put dividers in myself. But this has your standard type hook loop buckle type strap to close. So it's not a one-handed thing. If I want to uh, access the top here, I have to kind of do it like this. I could do it with one hand, but there's two of them. And then, of course, we have the compartment up here. This also opens from the rear. I like this backpack. I bought this back when it was on a special, but there's one or two, I would say, weak points. It's very lightweight, but yeah, the materials are not anywhere near as thick or as durable, in my opinion, as the VS Go backpack that I set down over there. This is definitely like a 3 to 5 year type backpack. With weekly use, I would put it closer to 3 years. And but it has some really nice design features. The main one, what I like most about it is the inside. Great zippers, but they're not rubberized. But they give you so many dividers. This makes it very easy to put all of my stuff, for Micro Four Thirds in here. I love that. Now this has sort of the foam molded type uh, back here. It's comfortable, but it's not quite as breathable as the mesh type, right? So while this is probably easier to clean if it gets dirty, because you can just wipe it off, right? Whereas the mesh style, you know, you get little flakes and pieces of grass in them, and they never come out. But this is a very lightweight, really nice backpack. I like the styling the most. And this has one feature. So this also has this one here though. If you look at the bottom, this doesn't have the feet, right? Rubberized feet like the other one. It is vinyl though. But the tripod straps on the back here on the front so that it doesn't go on the bottom, it goes here on the back. See, these are your tripod straps, and you strap the tripod across this way. So you can set this up, and it's relatively stable once you have it packed. Not quite as stable as the other one, but I can set this up and it stays up. Really good stitching all the way around. The vinyl material is fine. This is a little bit more rugged, cross stitch type vinyl. It has a little more texture to it. So this is a little bit more durable down here than it is up here. It's not the same. It's not in the same class or quality, right, as the other backpack. This one feels more like a 10-year backpack. Time will tell. I would give this easily a 10-year. Yeah, 5 to 10 years. It would be my guess for the materials. But obviously I haven't owned this for 10 years. I've had this for like a month. So the one thing about this is, you always have these like little really thin pockets somewhere. Every bag has a thin pocket like this, which, is good for putting your licenses, parking permits, whatever you need, right? Uh, but there's no grommets down here. So if water does, if you're in a sustained heavy rain, water can get in here and build up. And this did not come with a rain cover. So you don't want to put really anything in here if you're going to be out in the rain. It is magnetized here. Uh, but I would have preferred if this was zippered because then you wouldn't have to worry about rain. All right. Because if you look at this one also has a very thin front pocket, but it's zippered and it has a flap here to cover the zipper because the zippers on this are not rubberized. And then you can put in, little thin items in here. I have like a microfiber cloth. I think this came with the bag. But anyhow, the zippers are fine, but they're just not rubberized. But they put this flap over it, so even in a sustained rain, this is going to be dry. However, if you look at the side pocket here, there's no grommets, so water can accumulate in here. And to drain it, you're going to have to turn your bag upside down to drain it. So water can accumulate in here again in a sustained rain. But this did come with a rain cover. So if you are going to be in sustained heavy rain, you can use the cover to cover this. But if you don't, then this is the only point in the bag that is going to accumulate water. I like this bag. It's a little bit smaller, lighter duty, and this is like a half day type backpack. You'll notice that this also has the same kind of strap on the back, right, for luggage. But I wouldn't want to pick up a loaded bag with this handle. I could if it's not too heavily packed, but this is not stitched quite as well. This just has a single stitch here, and it's not reinforced stitching on the bag here. So if I were to do this on a regular basis, pick up the bag this way, I would imagine that's going to wear out over time. That could tear, right? So this, like I said, this bag sells for about $60 or $70, all day long, depending on the color. Some colors they charge a lot more. But I got this one, the black ones, and this is a black gray combination. They typically sell for less, $60 or $70. And it's definitely worth that. Definitely worth the $60, $70 price point. And, this, like I said, this is my light duty type backpack. And really, that was the backpack that got me into using backpacks was that one, the K&F one. Because I was like, man, I can just carry so much more stuff, much easier, and it's less awkward. I've always been a messenger bag guy, and I still am. If I'm going to go out with just a camera and a couple lenses, or a camera, a lens, and a flash, I'll use a messenger bag. It's easier, it's smaller. But a lot of times I want to go out with my 300 f4. I want to take maybe a second camera body, like maybe my Pentax monochrome, and then I need the monochrome with two lenses, the Pentax with two lenses. I need the Micro Four Thirds with a couple lenses, and then sometimes I like to bring the 300 f4 and a flash and a tripod. Yeah, that's not happening with a messenger bag, right? You have to you have to get a backpack. So I found the backpack is giving me more options when I go out into the field to carry more gear, common sense. But I'm really digging it because I used to seriously I used to try to stuff two camera bodies, two, three lenses, maybe a flash, and then strap a tripod on the bottom. And then I got all this weight on one strap. And it's like, oh, I mean, I dealt with it because I was just so mindset into just using a messenger bag. I was so used to using a messenger bag, I should say. But I'm finding using a backpack just makes life easier out in the field. And the bigger one, the 25-liter one, man, I carry so much stuff in that. I took a full portrait lighting setup for outdoors in that backpack. I carried the light stand, the light modifier, two camera bodies, a couple of lenses, like two or three flashes with the radio triggers, everything, smoke machine, video recorder. I could carry all that, put it in my backpack, and just go on site very, very comfortably. So I'm liking it. And the 25-liter, this is unusual for 25-liter backpacks. It also came with waist straps, which you can attach or detach. This is critical if you're going to be out packing, out hiking all day long. Because I don't care what backpack you have, 25 liters and larger. If you're going to be out all day long or multiple days hiking, the straps on your shoulder, they're going to dig in eventually. I don't care how comfortable they are at first. Half day, you can get by with 25 liters fully packed, you're fine. But if you're going to go all day, you really need to have a waist strap. What this does is obviously it stabilizes the backpack as you're walking, but primarily it shifts the weight off of the straps onto your hips. And that makes all the difference. And then you can easily go all day long because now the weight's being distributed not on your shoulders, but mostly to your hips. In fact, you can put two fingers under the straps when you're using this so that you're not really feeling any weight here on your shoulders. You can adjust things so it's a little more even, right? A little bit on your shoulders, a little bit on your hips. Uh, but this is either way, this is indispensable for all day. If you have a fully packed, backpack with lots of gear, 20 liters and smaller type backpacks, you don't need this. 25-liter, it's about 50-50, right? Usually 25-liter backpacks are just big enough for a half day thing, but if you're going to be doing all day or multiple days, you really need a 35-liter, type backpack with a legit hip system for weight distribution. The larger backpacks have more elaborate hip weight distribution type systems, that make a big difference. This is nice that you can add this or subtract it from the backpack via these hooks. So you have that option to make it just overall more comfortable if you're going to be carrying the bag around, on and off all day. This makes a big difference. So just a little taste of my backpack review. When I start talking about backpacks, when I review that, I also have a messenger bag from them. It's like $100, $100 messenger bag. It's nice, but man, when I got this for $25, for my money, I'm going to go for this. But if you have $100 and you want a quality backpack or messenger bag, I'm going to review that. I'll talk about that maybe next week. I think I've talked enough about bags and backpacks because not everybody here cares about backpacks, right? Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. Steve, good to see you. And let's see, Clinton Erner are jibber jabbering there. And Steve is here. Good to see you. You don't have to apologize. You're not birding, man. That's better than being here watching a stream. And let's see. Wow, the Ben's photo bag costs 56 euro on Amazon. I don't know if that's a good deal or not. What was the deal here in the US? It had to be less than that. Let me take a look. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're talking about this one. That's a killer deal. If you need a messenger bag, I'm telling you, man, this is a killer deal. This is probably a 5-year bag. I'd have to see the canvas material in person to really say it's more than a 5-year bag. This is a 3 to 5 year bag. But I would, if the material, if the material, this looks like vinyl, but if it's a good vinyl, this could last longer. And the problem with vinyl is eventually, unless you take care of it like leather, if you take care of your vinyl uh, stuff, anything made of vinyl, with the same care as leather, use moisturizers like leather cleaner and moisturizer. They should last a long time, but nobody does that for a vinyl bag, right? You could, uh, anyhow, and more talk about the Voigtlander here. Yeah, they are heavy and expensive. I don't have any Voigtlander lenses. I've never used one, but I've heard so many good things about how they render images. And the 9 liter for sling is more like a 6 liter. Realistically, I have to try it. If the Bellroy is too big, I will send it back and get the 6 liter version. They are stupidly expensive. Yeah. Let me see what that looks like. I'm curious. See if I can find it. Bellroy 9 liter sling. Wow. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. These are high end. Uh the one that I'm reviewing, let me look at I'm reviewing a sling from Visco. This one here. This is a 6 liter. This is the way to go. I'm gonna put the affiliate link for this in the chat. I'll show this bag to you since we you know let me show you this bag. Since your budget is in the $100 plus range, let me go to this camera. All right, so here's a 6 liter sling from Visco. This is the Tarion, right? That we looked at, $25. So they're about the same size in terms of width, but this is a little bit deeper in terms uh, of depth, right? But this expands out, so you can expand this one out quite a bit. It has its huge expandable section. So ultimately, this is going to hold more, right? But uh, again, this is top quality material. Uh, one hand opening. This has like a magnetic hook lock. So do that. And you can fit easily 2 camera bodies and a lens and filters here in the middle. That's what I did. So for example, uh, here's my OM3. with 35 to 100. I'll drop that in there. This is my Fujifilm XH2 with 18 to 55. I'll drop that in there. So there's the two camera bodies right there. But there's a space underneath in the middle that, I can drop in, say, at least one more lens. Because what's completely open is that pocket in the middle there. So let me put a couple of things in there first. So there's that lens. That just still plenty of room. I can put another one in there. Let me do that. And usually I would put like a microfiber cloth in between these two lenses, but I'll just set it in there gently for now. So I got two lenses in there. I'll put this in. And rather than two lenses, I could put a flash, right? Like a Godox V1. I'll put that in there. And I'll put this over this way. So now I got two cameras, four lenses, and then this can zip up if I want. I'm just going to leave it open, but I could zip that up, flip this over, and then I still have, a slim pocket here that's zippered, so I can put my permits in here. I have a side pocket here. I have a little pen in here. Side pocket over here. And if you want, you can put a tripod down here if you want. There's also a little zippered pocket here. Not zippered, this magnetically closes. But what's neat is you can zip this all the way down. And then you have additional pockets here. You can put some batteries in here, right? There's also a zippered pocket here where I put some cables for USB-C charging, if you want. And the other thing I like to do is if I'm going to use this as like a messenger bag, let me zip this up about halfway. What I'll do is I'll just tuck this in. I'll just tuck the flap in this way so I have access like this, and then I'll just hang this over. So now anytime I want to access my stuff, I have easy access without having to flip this over too. But if I want full rain protection, I can zip this all the way up like this. Let me get this lined up right. Is that the right? Oh, that's the wrong zipper. It's this one. So now I have full rain protection because you'll notice this flips over like that, and then we're all set. Another interesting thing is they have a little magnetic thing here. So it's like a little coin for tightening up your plates, your Arca Swiss plates and things. And that just goes right there. This is a great backpack. And, adjustable strap, of course, and it's buckled so you can store, I unbuckle the straps to store it away. Otherwise, top notch, man. Worth $100, definitely. Not a budget backpack, not a budget bag, obviously, but definitely worth the money. If you want to spend this kind of money. If you don't, then you can get like a $50 Tarion. You can get like the $20 Ben's photo bag. These bags are like 3-year bags, right? Maybe 5, but probably closer to 3 years for those kind of bags. Whereas this one, yeah, this is like a 10-year bag easily, and it's really well padded. Great dividers in there. They're adjustable. I could go on and on. I will in another video review, but that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about in the video is what I just showed you. Okay. Let's see. Well, I hope that comment wasn't covering everything. I left the comment up there. Nice bag, but where's your thermos of Maxwell House? I know, I didn't I had a cup this morning. I'm starting to crash a little bit now. And by morning, I mean like, 5 hours ago, I had a cup of coffee. Um, but good to see you, Tim. And I see Zoltan is here. Good to see you. And Clint says, Emily from Micro Four Thirds noticed show K&F filter that has variable ND, circular polarizer, and mist filter. Phil posted a link for that one. I will pick one up later today. Oh, okay, cool. Um, I don't want to take anything away from Emily, so if she has an affiliate link, um, yeah, K&F offered me that filter as well to review, and I said I got too many things right now. So I told him, thanks, but no thanks. I'm just too busy. I got to review these two bags. I got to review a lens, and I got a memory card I got to review and a card reader with it. I just said it's just too much. It's too much. I'm not a big fan of doing reviews, but uh, when I think it's a decent product that you guys might appreciate, right? Like I do, I appreciate them sending it to me, of course, but the design and the quality of these products and the pricing that they're putting at, I said, there'll probably be a lot of viewers who might like this. So K&F, it's probably a variable ND, CPL, and mist, right? All in one. I assume what filter size thread do you need? You probably need the 62 or the 58. Um, I'm looking here. So this is the ND CPL. So I see this one here. This one is, oh, they have all the different ones here on the same page. So let me give you the link for that. So there you go. Thank you very much. But again, if Emily has an affiliate link, I would defer you to hers. Okay. Because she's done the work on it. I know that the one that I reviewed, which doesn't have the mist filter, is excellent. Excellent filter. Adding the mist filter makes sense if you're going to be doing portraits and things of people. The mist filter does help a little bit because I have a separate mist filter that I bought and I used it on my last portrait shoot, and it's just very subtle, but it makes a little bit of difference. And Zoltan says, backpack great for traveling and hiking. I'm a great fan of backpacking. Unfortunately, currently I only have one for my camera gear. My other backpack is an Ozark Trail brand for general purpose. Yes, Ozark. That's a Walmart brand, isn't it? I've seen it at Walmart, the Ozarks. I think I bought a tent or something. I don't remember. I bought some Ozark stuff before. I can't remember what it was exactly. I used to do a lot of camping. Sometimes I just throw my camera in the Ozark lightweight backpack if I go somewhere. But I need a better camera bag soon because my dedicated camera bag is too crowded. Yeah. With the let me show you something. One of the things I have on my deal page, I think, is these little bag inserts. This is a good deal for $16. These usually cost a lot more. I bought one for $10, of course, when it was on super sale, right? But this is really useful. You just insert this into your existing camera backpack like I did. I'll show you how I set mine up. Um, got stuff in here. 'Cause I use this backpack actually. I get compliments on this backpack. People are like, "Wow, that's a nice backpack." I said, "Damn right it is." Anyhow, uh, here's like those microfiber things. I like to use these a lot. But you can see I have one of these inserts that I put in because our Micro Four Thirds gear is all really small. Uh, because if I take this out, I mean, look at this big gaping hole here. How are you going to put your stuff in there if you're a Micro Four Thirds shooter? There's some additional dividers. There's like two more dividers I could put in, but even then, that's still too much. So even with a dedicated camera backpack like this, it's ideal for like full frame cameras because their lenses are you know how big their lenses are. But for Micro Four Thirds stuff, this is what I do. I just have my film camera in here for now. But you see how that sets in there, nice and compact, with a couple lenses and filters. What would happen if I just put this in here? My God, it's just you know, there's it's just so much room. So maybe thinking about something like this for your Ozark, because a lot of people and they will argue, and I believe it's a legitimate argument. I like these. If it's not like an actual photography, the difference between these photography microfibers is that when you put something in it, it stays, you know, it's kind of a pseudo Velcro where it'll hold stuff versus uh regular microfiber cloth that I use to like clean my car, like I have here. These things, I usually wrap the lenses or camera. This is like microfiber cloth that I bought on that you can buy these on a roll and tear them off like paper towels. But this I use for wrapping lenses and stuff if they happen to be loose or if I'm stacking lenses on top of each other, just to keep them from scratching. So, oops. But that's something to think about. If you can find one cheap enough, because a lot of them are like, I've seen some of these freaking inserts costing like $80. You might as well buy a legit backpack, right? Uh, anywho, and then Paul says, for me, loaded up backpacks need wheels that allows me to take extra gear when I'm doing heavy shoot. Then for bird photography, I use that little bag smart, which is great. Yeah, that bag smart bag was a good deal. Usually it's like $15 or something, right? But I think for larger shoots, I use a wagon. Like you can get those for like when they're on sale, you can get them for $60, a decent wagon. And a wagon comes in handy, or you can get the wheeled uh, cases and backpacks. They got backpacks that have wheels on them, and usually those wheels, I haven't looked that hard, but the when I look at the wheels on those backpacks, they look a little small for outdoor type use. Like it's fine for sidewalks and things like that, but for dirt, I really think a wagon is the only way to go if you're going to be out in the woods and stuff. And even that's not practical if you actually have to hike over, rocks and things, then and a lot of trails are very narrow, so a wagon wouldn't work either. But What I've done is I've used a wagon. Oh, sorry, screen. I'm sorry to hear you're sick. I hope you get better soon. And for air travel, I now take out the dividers and put them in my check-in baggage and use camera wraps to take what I need in carry-ons. Yeah, oh, that's smart. Those little wraps, like I was just showing, that's very, very smart. And Roger says, looking for a low-cost 90-degree periscope lens adapter. Photograph birds and birdhouses. Let me see. I've never shopped for that, but let me take a look. I can get a pretty good feel for it pretty quickly. Periscope lens. So I assume you're talking about one of these. I've seen these before. These are very, very cheap. So I'm going to assume we're talking about something like this. Oh, that's for a cell phone. Hold on. Yeah, these are cell phone. Let's see, smartphone. Maybe I need to be. All right. Let's see if we can subtract smartphone and see what happens. Nope. Probably B&H would be. I don't even know how to search for this. Uh, Roger, I 90-degree periscope lens adapter. I'm not exactly sure how to find something like that. Let me try this way. 90-degree lens adapter. Yeah, that's for telescopes. Those I see all the time, but I know I've seen it before. I just can't find one now. Oh, here's one. This is a little small. It's a 52 millimeter. It's just a mirror. So let's do right angle mirror lens hood. Photo diox. All right, so what you'd have to do, because I don't see anything bigger. If I search in, let me look in B&H. Yeah, I don't see it there. All right, so let's look at this one. Why has it got three one-star reviews though? Functions that but mirrors very poor quality and greatly reduce the quality of the photos. Impossible to focus, return and refund. Huh. Well, it's $15, right? So it's not a lot of money for that one. I don't see any other options that are higher quality. You can try it. Now, I will tell you that the 52 millimeter filter ring thread is pretty small. So you're gonna have to use step rings. Now, if you're now most likely you're gonna be shooting telephoto, so that's not gonna be an issue. You're not gonna get vignetting because telephoto lenses, your field of view is so narrow that you don't have to worry about stepping down to that ring size to use it. Because if say if you're using the 75 to 300, you don't have to step down very much, right? I think the 75 to 300 is a 58 millimeter. You'd only have to step down maybe one or two rings. But either way, you don't have to worry about it. So don't worry about that. But I am a little concerned about the comment about the quality of the mirror not being very good and reducing the quality. So, um, but $15 you can try, I guess, and then return it because Amazon's pretty liberal with the returns, right? And then, nice, Rob. I like those inserts. Thinking of getting one, and I could use it inside my porta brace utility bag to make it compartmentalized for my lenses. Yep. Yeah, another option is buy a sling bag that will fit inside your backpack because a sling bag will have the inserts already, right? Because I've done that, is I've put the sling bag inside the backpack and I use that as compartmentalizing my gear inside the backpack. And then when I get on site, if I don't need to bring the whole backpack, I can just bring the sling. It's not quite as efficient as buying an actual insert, but like I said, the inserts cost so much sometimes because, like I said, I saw one for like $70. I was like, $70 for an insert, but it's a bigger one, right? It'll probably fit the whole backpack rather than just a portion of the backpack. And this side says I have a few neoprene camera bags like wetsuit material. They are heavy bags though. Yeah. Yeah, neoprene is heavier because it's rubber, right? And Rob looks more like a long tube with a 90-degree end. Okay. I can't find one. Uh, but if it's 90 degrees, it's gonna have to be a mirror, and I think that's the concern. If I take off the word hood, well, you know what, Roger, just email me a link to one that you found, and I'll take a look at it. So I just don't see anything like that here. But you've emailed me many times, so just email me a link to that, and I'll take a look. Uh, okay, so looks like that's it on the chat. Any other questions or anything you guys want to talk about? I'm good for another 5-10 minutes at least. If I had coffee, I would probably be good for another hour. But what is a katana? Oh, these are I use these for props for doing photo shoots. At least that's what I thought I was going to use. I did it a couple times and then I never used them again. That's all. They're actually real swords. They're not terribly sharp, but you can sharpen these down. It's a carbon steel blade, so it shouldn't rust, and it should get pretty sharp if you sharpen it. But I use them for props for a photo shoot. I kind of regret it now because these are real, and it'd be an issue if I go out to like national parks and things, or just in public in general, with a real sword or knife like this. I should have got like one of those cosplay uh, swords that are made of wood or plastic, and it would have cost less, and I wouldn't get in trouble with these. So these are primarily for studio, in the studio, not out in public, because I'd probably get arrested if I use these in public. But that's what that is. And I'm a big fan of kung fu movies, the old ones, like from the 70s. That, man, that used to be my thing. Every Saturday, they would have kung fu something. It was basically all day long kung fu movies. Now we have channels dedicated to that, right? Like on Tubi or something. But uh, I used to love those. And Japanese steel is made same way Damascus swords are made, 12 folds forged. I don't think these are anything like that. I bought them on Amazon for like $80 or something. Let me see. So this is I bought these last year. Handmade Japanese katana three-piece display stand, carbon steel. Uh, Made of high carbon steel, forging heat treatment. The blade is integrated, so don't need to worry about it falling off. Blah blah blah. Uh, yeah. So I don't think this is as good a quality as what you're talking about. What did you say? Made of the same Damascus swords are made 12 folds forged. I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt these are folded over 12 times. They would have mentioned that if it was. This is probably a single mold, right, of steel. And so, I mean, they can be sharpened pretty well. But like, I think in a real fight against another sword, you could probably cut this in half, right, with a good sword, like you see in the movies. Because, the carbon steel is not quite as brittle, but then, uh, well, it's actually a little more brittle than stainless because of the carbon. But I think, yeah, I wouldn't survive long. If I was a sword master, I wouldn't survive long against another sword master that had a good sword, right? So this is when gear matters. When we're talking about survival, gear matters when it comes to swords. I mean, obviously, skill will almost always trump gear, but if you have two equally skilled swordsmen, then the gear matters, right? And Mark says, my laptop died last night. Somehow taking the battery out, saved it. Didn't know that was. Yeah, yeah. I guess sometimes like the it's weird, but taking the battery out might drain a stuck capacitor on the board or clear like one of the chipsets that are in there that have some sort of, you know, ROM on it or RAM, whatever. Yeah, electronics can be finicky. Sometimes just what you do is you take the battery out, then you push the power button to drain any residual charges that might be left on the motherboard that would be saving or is corrupted, right? Some sort of circuit, and then re-energizing it when you put the battery back in, everything goes back to normal. Okay. And tariffs are hitting the pre-orders big time, really. I know that pre-orders were stopped for a little while, but I don't know if you can pre-order but pay more. It doesn't work at all with, oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes the the charging circuit goes through the battery before it goes to the main board, so you can bypass it, right? It's a little beyond me, computer diagnosing things like that, but after, I've probably had dozens of laptops in my life at various stages, and, yeah, all these different things you try to make them come alive, at least so you can get your data off and go buy a new laptop, right? "Oh, Marco, help." Yeah, I know. Marco, I don't think Marco's still here. He might have taken off. But, the laptops I have on my deal page, I have one on there, is a pretty good one. It's 1,100 bucks. That's a decent one. I should get Marco on, and we should do, like, a full-on laptop for photographers. We've done them in the past a couple times, but, every year, you really have to do them every year because technology changes pretty quick. Alright, I think I'll call it here, guys. So that's all I had for today. I appreciate your support and participating today, hitting the like button, subscribing, all that good stuff, and being members, buying me coffees, and of course, today, especially using my affiliate links to uh, get any of the products that I talked about. And I think all the stuff I talked about today is pretty decent for the money. And the good thing about Amazon is that they have a very liberal return policy. So if there's a problem with it, because half the things I show you guys, they're all sight unseen. I'm just giving you my best guess and judgment based on the experience that I've had with buying budget gear, basically my entire photography life. You get a feel for, yeah, this is crap. Don't even bother buying it, or this has some potential, right? And most of the time when I get it, it's fine. Very rarely do I have to return things. I have returned things that I've talked about in the past that didn't work out, and I take them off my recommendation page. Uh, but everything so far, I would say 90% of the things I've recommended at the price point we're talking about have been pretty awesome deals for everyone to get some life out of things, to try things new, try new things, right? In their photography. And then when you get to a point to where you feel like you want to buy the top tier filter, top tier backpack, top tier lens, you have you can now justify that because you either wore out the item that you had or you're ready for the next level. So thanks again for being here today. It's great to see everybody. I'll be back most likely Friday for my photo editing stream. And I have some big announcements there on the photo editing side too. Maybe not by Friday, but we'll see. So thanks again for being here. I'll see you guys again, hopefully soon.